Germany, for the first time since 1990, can call themselves the World Cup champions. We shouldn't be too sad. I mean, after all, we beat Germany when it counted back in World War II. Thank you very much. Eric Adelson from Yahoo Sports joins us now. Hey, Eric, you were down. What, Yahoo didn't want you to spend the night in Rio? They were afraid you were going to party too much?
Yeah, they wanted me there mostly for the lead-up and the group stage and then the first part of the knockout round. And I was happy to watch the final on my couch.
Oh, well, good for you. So just like us. But yeah, I think you watched it with a more trained eye than the rest of us. Is this one for the ages?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the way the tournament was won with that goal, I mean, that is a beautiful goal. And you know what? It's appropriate because I cannot remember more beautiful goals being scored in the tournament than we had. It would have been a shame, I think, if it went into penalty shots or if there was some mistake that was made. That was just a gorgeous setup, a gorgeous goal, and a very well-played game by both sides. It wasn't lopsided at all. It wasn't like the Brazil-Germany game. I feel like we had the two best teams. I mean, unless you're going for Argentina, you cannot complain about how that game went and ended.
I mean, that goal by Götze, where it bounces off his chest and then he kicks it in, right? I mean, it was textbook. It was beautiful. And it comes, I'm told, like after 7 hours of play, no one had scored against Argentina until that point. That's astonishing.
Yeah, Argentina played really, really well. And you know, the end is instructive for the Americans because they're modeling themselves after how the Germans play. But the Germans won because of their depth. Götze was a substitute, and in another one of their big wins, actually draw, it was Klose who was a substitute. They had better substitutes than Argentina, and the U.S., when they get that kind of depth, that's the next big step for that team. So it's instructive to see how the Germans did it. It was really a very close battle the whole way, but then the Germans had that extra kick literally at the end, and that's how they won.
And let's talk about the U.S. team's performance because, of course, it was very disappointing to lose in extra time to Belgium. But we were in the same group as Germany. Everyone called it the group of death, right? We battled them pretty well, didn't we? Or did Germany sort of not really pour it on because they already had their ticket into the round of 16?
No, I wouldn't say that. I talked to the Germans after their tie with Ghana, which is probably their most disappointing effort, considering how well they did throughout the whole tournament. And they were upset. They wanted to show the full measure of their ability against the Americans. They were not just mailing it in that game. So that is pretty much the best of the best teams that the Americans faced and played well against. The way they stayed together on defense, the Americans, against that German Goliath, I think is a very good sign. Clearly, the German way is the winning way, and Klinsmann helped build it. So if you can't find a better soccer mind for the future of American soccer than Jurgen Klinsmann. He had a huge role in this World Cup victory, even though he wasn't officially on the team.
You know, it's been really surprising. I mean, those of us who have kids who play soccer have come to appreciate the game, and we watch it. But, I mean, the numbers of these the programs of the soccer games have been getting has been really tremendous. Did they have any sense of it there in Brazil about how it was coming over back in the United States?
It was surprising each time to see just clips of it. You know, obviously we don't get American television down in Rio and in Brazil, but then you see flashes of Soldier Field being completely mobbed and Jerry World and just you see news accounts of it. That this was something that's big and getting bigger. And you know what's going to help is that the U.S. women now play next year. So we don't really, people say, oh, I don't want to wait 4 years. I don't want to wait 4 years either. We don't have to. I know it's not quite as big, but in terms of the development of youth programs, that's going to be another shot in the arm for U.S. soccer to have the Americans playing. And again, I can't stress this enough. I think it's a little bit overlooked, is the time difference that you had all these games basically at convenient times for Americans to watch, and then next year it's in Canada. So you're going to have that again. You don't have in Asia, you don't have Australia. You have all these games are going to be able to be watched by kids and families before they go to sleep. and that's going to help the game even more.
Well, and let's face it, as we look at the Women's World Cup, the other cool thing for American fans is that we actually have a chance of winning that one. Hey, Eric Adelson, let's zoom out just a little bit. Let's away from the sport, but look at the nation of Brazil. How did they do? There was a lot of skepticism going in of how they were going to be able to handle this major event, and obviously it has huge ramifications considering they have the Summer Olympics in 2 years.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. The stadiums were beautiful, and it was mostly calm. I want to add a word of caution though, because I actually spoke to somebody who works in counterterrorism in Brazil, and he said that the unrest and the anger will probably be more for the Olympics than it was for the World Cup, because that's their tournament, that's their sport, they love it, and so I think that just because you had a relatively calm event in the World Cup doesn't mean that the Olympics are going to be seamless. Yeah. I think that there will be more problems, more upset in the 2 years to come. But in terms of Rio's ability to handle an event like this, I think they did it quite well, and I think that the concerns about whether Rio is going to be overwhelmed are a little bit overblown.
So that's interesting, because a lot of people are wondering, well, this went off so seamlessly, how are the Olympics going to go? Your suggestion is that it may be a very different environment.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I heard it from two people, a Brazil historian I spoke to about the subject, and I spoke to somebody who works with the American counterterrorism movement too. And he's based in Brazil, and he's not even a soccer fan. He just said, it wasn't alarmist, he just said that don't be fooled by how calm it is now, because the Olympics are a different event, and it's because the people here were relatively calm and accepting of this tournament doesn't mean that they're going to be happy to get the Olympics and not complaining about the same type of resource allocations that they were upset about this time.
All right. Well, welcome home, Eric Adelson. Thanks for all the very informed and good-natured reports from Rio for this World Cup. We can now take 4 years off before we talk about men's soccer again. Everyone, you can go back to your regular program.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.